From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Direct and live from Santa Monica, California. In this recording, we go over this incredible recon that will go to a final vote within just a few days. How do they get it done? In this fourth stimulus check updated to 2021 today, we go over the recon that will go to a rubber stamp vote within just a few days. And the vote can happen as early as this week. I have the latest details of what unfolded on Friday. Price tag 1.75? Not really. No one knows what the price tag is, and they don't particularly care on the House side because guess what? Programs are in. And those programs across all these incredible different programs and across all these incredible clusters of checks will collectively pay you about $15,000. After viewers, this channel got $45,000 under third stimulus. Student loan debt forgiveness is heating up with an additional $10,000 now being proposed. And then we go over to that COLA raise. As fifth stimulus is coming right behind fourth stimulus, we have all the latest details and that and more as a big, bold, beautiful morning is coming in. Set, spike, and pop. Here we go. It's a big, bold, beautiful new day. Direct and live from Santa Monica. I'm excited for you because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing, and the bacon amendment needs to be done by Votorama. It's a big, bold, beautiful day, and this is Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather is good where you are. It is beautiful here in Santa Monica, California right now, live with you on Mornings LA. A vote will be happening within just a few days because the deal was reached on Friday. I'll explain the latest details on a very confusing process where no one even knows what the price is of the recon is. Sounds strange? It is strange. I'll explain the details in this confusing deal that is absolutely deliciousness. Then we turn to the incredible programs in and programs out that'll pay you about $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. After viewers got $45,000 from third stimulus, we'll be cutting over to student loan debt forgiveness as more debt could be forgiven across the board, and then we cut over to fifth stimulus. It's a big day, and I'm excited you're here because it's a big, bold, beautiful week ahead of us. We're here, we're ready to rock and roll, and the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the bacon is still missing. And this is LALATE, America's most talked about financial news channel in America. 16 plus shows per day, hundreds of hours of programming per week, and I want you to be part of this incredible family. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers and 140 million views in a year and a half, a YouTube record. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Here's a scope of what we're going to do in this video. First, I'm going to go broadly over the recon. All these incredible clusters of checks, generally, I'm going to go over first. Then commercial break. Right after the commercial break, we'll come back and go over the deal reached on Friday, what this means for you and the recon going from House to Senate. And then we go over what's next on the Senate side. We go over then where you need to get that pen and paper ready. Each of these checks one at a time and how the eligibility works, who gets them, how you get them, and as well. Let's go over all the incredible details starting right now. Several weeks ago, a subcommittee passed this incredible recon, and now the recon will be passed as well on a House floor. The collective nature of all these checks collectively put together across all this incredible programs will pay you on average about $15,000. This is for viewers who have already, under third stimulus, got on average about $45,000 from third stimulus. So get that pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you all the details. We're going to go over each of these clusters of checks one at a time. Remember, House bill. So these provisions will all pass on the House side. Then, if I say hard, cold cash, it means checks in your hand right up front. If I say back end, it means you have to do something for the check. Here we go to the first cluster of checks, and they all were passed in the subcommittee, and they're all becoming part of House Bill passage as well. Hazard pay got in there. Back end, that is the earned income tax credit for one more year. Elder care, $4,000, they got it in there. This is upfront, hardcore cash. Then they got up to $4,000 a year for caring for the young children. They got the Pell Grant, $550 checks to current recipients of the Pell Grant. This is hard cold cash checks. They got money in there for the home repairs if you live in a low-income community. Hard cold cash checks. And then they got the CTC, the child tax credit, one more year. Hard cold cash checks, $3,600 or $3,000. And then they got the surprise, $12,500 for the purchase price of an electric vehicle. Wow, that is a back-end check. And there you go. Those are the checks in that first cluster, all going to the finish line in the house and staying in there, and some of them going bigger. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters, and you know what it is, and it's a big game changer. It's a big win. It is a hard cold cash check for the purchase price of your first home. Maxine Waters wanted this number to be $25,000. It will not be $25,000, but it is in there, and it is huge. It is a hard cold cash check for the purchase price of your first home, either given to the seller in your name or to you by the federal government right before escrow closes on that home. Whoa, incredible. Stay with me later in this video. I go over all the details of how you get this money. Second cluster checks, let's turn to it, and whoa, it is huge. Here we go. Paid leave, they got it in there. Child care programs got it in there. Household tax credits got it in there. Community college out. Universal pre-kindergarten got it in there. And weatherizing your home. They got that in there as well. What is weatherizing your home? You definitely need that every time that Joe Manchin pulls up in the driveway with that horrible color of a Maserati. Weatherize quickly. Pre-kindergarten, hard cold cash check. Paid leave, hard cold cash check, thousands of dollars. Stay with me, I'll explain to you how you get this money. And all those other items, including the household tax credit back-end checks. Wow, let's go to the second add-on. They got it in there. It's a benefits. It's not a hard cold cash check. And it is the paid leave for the home health care services for my seniors and people on disabilities. Bob Casey and Joe Biden wanted a $250 billion. They didn't get that price point. They got a little bit less, and it's huge. This is a covered benefit home health care for my seniors and people on disabilities, which brings us to the third cluster of checks. This was the battle royale. Let's see which checks survived. I'm going to go over each of them slowly because there's a lot of them in here. Free school meals for all. They got it in there, and it is hard cold cash check, $65 a month per child when not in school. Cheaper prescription medication, they got it in there. Not a check, just a benefit. Immigration reform, in there, just a benefit. Farmers, don't know. Free internet, don't know. Clean energy out. Independent contractors, don't know. And then Medicare expansion, let me do that on air right with you right now. So Medicare expansion, they got a lot of this in there, but not all of it. First, they got the Medicare gap states solved. Stay with me, I'll explain in a second. The lowering the Medicare eligibility age, they're going to leave that for the Senate. The dental, vision, and hearing, they only got the hearing. They're going to leave the dental and vision for the Senate as well, which tees us up beautifully for our third add-on, monthly or multiple IRS stimulus check. There's a lot being left to the senators, you see, and that is why the House has just sent it on over to the Senate. You see a lot of senators later in this video says, I have a lot to do, so send it over to me in the Senate. Over the last few weeks, 6 senators have told thousands of viewers of this channel that they would be doing at least one stimulus check. That is Senators Casey, Senators Warren, Sanders, Schumer, Coons, and Wyden. As Jennifer says in all the live chats, how many times have you called today to advocate to those 6 senators? You see what's going on is that the House has just sent it over to the Senate as quickly as they can because the senators have a lot of stuff to do. That's good for us. 2 places where they can take care of this. Senate Vote-A-Rama or Senate Subcommittee. Let's go over the 2 nuances. The Senate Vote-A-Rama is a 2-day event, 48 hours, at the very end of this process. It's a formative event because usually the biggest laws of this country come during the Vote-A-Rama. Here's an example. In third stimulus, Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren looked at the bill coming from the House, mentioned nothing about student loan debt forgiveness. And they knew the president was about to forgive some student loan debt, and they knew under the tax code, if you have $20,000 of debt forgiven, you have to pay taxes on it, a lot. Instantly as upwards of $10,000 out of your pocket to the IRS, $10,000 of cash you don't have. So Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer saw the House bill, never took care of it. They introduced it by vote-a-rama. They got it done. Made the forgiveness of student loan debt now a tax-free event. And a lot of people have had their debts forgiven. I have more about that coming up in this video. So that shows you how important a vote-a-rama is. Now, on the other hand, you're going to see later in this video, we have a lot of senators saying, I have a lot of work to do. A lot of work. So in that regards, you do want, as soon as the House bill lands in the Senate, for it to go into a subcommittee. Like Bernie Sanders' subcommittee, he's the chairman of the Budget Committee, because that gives them the opportunity to make all those changes across the board. And that is why advocacy is so important. Let's read that incredible message of advocacy from the #1 legislator, his chief of staff, to us about this recon. Why it's so important to pick up the phone and advocate across the board. The message says the following, that they have now in total between congressional senators' offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures of the American petition. Yes, you have delivered over 3 million phone calls, but should not stop there. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from the LA viewers. They have now a better understanding than a bunch of signatures. They now have a better understanding of how the average Americans are going to make it through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories in the LA viewers, and they are the voice of the people across the nation in you, LALATE, as you have become too loud to be ignored. Very, very kind. Let's read the last sentence on air together. Please continue your encouragement, LALATE, for the continued advocacy, as you have become the professional voice of the people, LALATE, and continue until this becomes law. Absolutely. It's very important because you see this body of legislation going from House to Senate. And in the second half of this video, you see a lot of provisions going in. You do not see a ceiling on the price of the recon. They're making modifications. They're adding things in there. And you need to advocate. How many calls have you made today? Write down those 6 senators' names and call 2 today. Call 2 tomorrow. Call 2 the day after. Why I need it? I need it because, not a question. You're not asking questions. You're not tracking. Am I getting? No. You're asking, you're saying, no question mark sentences, all statements. Casey, Coons, Warren, Sanders, Schumer, Wyden. Coming up in the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. Stay with me. Boy, it's a jam-packed video today. A deal was reached on Friday. How does that deal work, and why does it mean there could be a potential vote as early as this week? All of the details in this recording. The Price is Right. No, they don't know what the Price is Right. They're not going to win the Showcase Showdown on this channel. What's going on? Very confusing, but get that pen and paper ready, because I'm going to show you the programs in and the programs out. They're going to pay you thousands of dollars, at least $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven by executive order. And then fish stimulus coming right behind that as well. We got a big, bold, beautiful broadcast. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. Stay here as a Big Mornings LA continues direct and live from Santa Monica on this big morning. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues live from Santa Monica as a deal's been reached in that recon. And here we go with a potential vote as early as this week. What is the vote dependent upon? One piece of document to be released. Price is Right? Nope. No one knows what the price is. How's this going to work? I'll explain all the details in the second half. Programs in, programs out. Yes, more programs are going to go in and have been put in, but when we go to the Senate, more could be added as well. Then we turn over the incredible details of student loan debt forgiveness as more debt could be forgiven across the board. I have all the latest details on that. Then we turn to the exciting details of the COLA raise. And it's all up by fifth stimulus. It's a big, bold, beautiful morning's broadcast. I'm here. I'm direct and live with you in Santa Monica, California. I'm excited you're here. And here we go as we go into a big week with a potential vote on your recon. And this is LALATE, America's most talked about financial news channel in America. 16, 19 shows per day, hundreds of hours of programming per week, the most comprehensive, the most accurate, and the most in-depth coverage across the board. Like this video and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Coming up next is Morning's Crypto live on air, and then Noontime live on air at 11 a.m. in about 2 hours from now. Let's go right into the dramatics of what unfolded on Friday, and here we go. Even for the most advanced, even for the beginner, it's a very confusing situation to look and see what happened on Friday. So we're going to step it back a notch so both beginners that may have just found this channel today and advanced viewers understand what happened on Friday. We have two different bodies of legislation. The first one on my left hand is called the Roads and Bridges, or the infrastructure. Does not concern money for you. Second body of legislation on my right hand is the recon, also called the reconciliation, also called the budget bill, also called the social spending plan. It does have your money in there, thousands and thousands of different checks across the board. Who supports what? The recon only needs Democratic votes. That's why it's called a recon. It doesn't need any Republican votes. The recon supporters are the progressive Democrats. The Roads and Bridges supporters are the moderate Democrats. Going into Friday, both bodies of legislations, both in the House, and both with an issue. What was going on? Progressives said, we're not going to vote on the roads and bridges unless you vote on a recon first. Moderate Democrats saying the reverse. We're not going to vote on your recon unless you vote on our roads and bridges first. So what did Nancy Pelosi do, Speaker of the House? The thing she does best. Over decade after decade, this is what she does well. Got a huge deal. The deal may make no sense when you look at it because it looks too good to be true, but it really is that good. The deal reached with Nancy Pelosi on Friday was a deal to appease both sides and come to a universal agreement. And what was that deal? Let's say it first. The deal involved the moderate Democrats raising their hand and voting, taking a pen and paper and writing their name and signing an agreement that the moderate Democrats would vote in favor of the recon when they get the Congressional Budget Office report no later than the week of November 15th. Wow, that's a big sentence. It is a big sentence. Let's break it down slowly. The moderate Democrats agree to vote in favor of the recon once they get the Congressional Budget Office report. Oh, so does that mean that when they get the report, if they don't like it, they can change their mind? No. Nancy and the progressives saw that coming a mile away. The agreement was the moderate Democrats will vote in favor of the recon once they get the report, whether it's good or bad. So why? My opinion of the situation is because they want to send the report over to the Senate so the Senate could deal with the issues of what's in the report, good or bad. What is a congressional budget report? Congressional Budget Office is a nonpartisan government agency that looks at legislation that's proposed. And they say, it's going to cost $10 and it's going to pay this type of money and the price tag will be this. So they want that report. All right, let's go to the last sentence. The last sentence says no later than the week of November 15th. That does not mean on November 15th. That does not mean the week of November 15th. It means no later than the week of November 15th. So could they vote on it this week, which is the week before? They could. When could they potentially vote this week? It's dependent upon when they get that report. The Congressional Budget Office report, we do not know when it was requested, but I've been covering it for now upwards of 6 days. I first covered last Tuesday when Senator Bob Menendez says, we need this report. People have been asking for the report for now 6 days. If they requested it last week, then it's likely it could be available tomorrow, potentially, And if that's the case, then the vote could happen later this week. As I've been telling viewers all weekend long is, guess what? Nancy Pelosi loves voting at midnight on Thursday nights about anything. So be prepared to pencil in to take a nap on Thursday. As a little child, she woke up in the middle of the night on Thursday night saying, Mommy, I want to vote on something. My Little Pony or Care Bears. Honey, it's midnight. Go to bed. No, it's midnight. I'm Nancy Pelosi. I'm even baby Nancy Pelosi. I got to vote on something every Thursday night at midnight. I just love that. So she's always voted on midnight at Thursday night. I just don't know why. What's with that date and that time, a day of the week? But get ready, because if that report is issued this week, then the vote will go. To which someone may ask me, and I'm going to give you the answer right now. Are they in session? They're not in session. So the House and Senate is not in session. What does in session mean? It means they're not in the room in which they vote. The door is closed and the key is locked and Nancy has in her hair. The door is locked. It does not mean they are out of town. It does not mean they're in the South Pacific at Mitch's Lobster Fest. It means they're just down the hall. Steny Hoyer, the majority leader of the House, would just issue a statement saying, get your butt in to vote within 24 hours because the report has been issued. We're voting X day. And that's how simple it will be done. It will be a 1-second vote and we are done. Someone sent me a beautiful message over early this morning, saying, I have seen this idea of, wait a second, the Senate's going to make changes and they're going to wiggle back and they're going to vote against. No. The House is voting first, so there is no wiggle room on the moderate Democrats on this deal. The House is voting first. Once we're done with the House, we're going to the Senate. Price is right? No. The price is not right. No one knows what the price is, and this is why they don't care for purposes of the House. They're just sending it to the Senate for them to deal with it. What's at issue here? We have 3 bodies of legislation, which I said was going to be added into the recon last week, and they were. At the time, the recon without them was 1.75. When they're added in there, we had paid leave added in, $200 billion. Well, that's 1.95. Added in cheaper prescription medication, added in the salt. Don't know the prices on those, but they're not free. So the recon is over $2 trillion. A taxation report issued by the Democrats Thursday morning said that a $500 billion of the recon is not paid for. So when the president addressed the American people on Saturday morning, said the whole recon's paid for. Untrue, based upon his own Democratic report. So that's what they're going to look at when they look at that CBO. Programs in, programs out. So here we go. Get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over a lot of different programs across the board. We are starting with paid leave, and it pays fortunes to you across the board. First, what is it? Paid leave, family leave, medical leave means you have to stay home because of the birth of a child in your household or because of sick or illness of someone in your household or you. Not COVID related, just life in general. Over the last year, if you look back, have you had to stay home for a week because your son had the flu? A day because your wife had to go to the dentist? 2 weeks because you sprained your ankle at pickup basketball on a Saturday morning? Then this is you. How much does it pay? A fortune. Let's go over the calculation. And the third stimulus was supposed to pay $1,700 a week if you make $80,000 or more per year, $70,000 or more per year, split in half. $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year, split in half. $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. How many weeks? 4 weeks. 4 times $1,700. Yeah, that's $5,000, $6,000. It's a lot of money, folks. This is hard, cold cash. Federal government to you. It's huge. It's lots of incredible stimulus. Then let's say you're on the low end, $1,400, $400 a week. Yeah, times 4 weeks. Top end, $1,600. It's a lot of money. Here comes the best part of it. It's for all workers, all income levels, all type of workers. So let's say you're an Uber Lyft driver and you make only $20,000 a year. You're W-2. Yeah. And you have to stay home because your wife is giving birth. Yes. Federal government will send you a check. Let's say you work at a department store and make 6 figures a year, but you have to stay home because you sprained your ankle. Yes, you get a check as well. This is a lot of money. That is the first big, bold, beautiful add-on to this recon. The second one is salt. This is the second of 3 add-ons that I said it was going to be added this last week, and boy, it got in there. Salt has been one of those questions where people say, what is that? I thought low sodium is good. No, more sodium in this case is better. Salt is one of those provisions where I never heard of it, never knew anything about it, so I started making recordings, and I learned it for you. And that's the spirit of this channel, us learning as a family together. SALT, what is it? Let's go over the numbers right now. When you go to pay your state tax return, let's say you go and pay that state tax return personal, and you pay $12,000 in taxes. Under current law, you can then take those $12,000 you paid to the state in taxes and deduct it as a deduction on your federal IRS tax return. But there's a problem. You can only deduct up to $10,000 under the Trump 2017 tax code. So you can't deduct the full $12,000. That will no longer be the case. Democrats were concerned in the big states like New York and New Jersey, where Gothenheimer came up with this idea, moderate Democrats, that you couldn't deduct stuff you're paying for. And now you can. The new rule would be you can deduct up to $72,500 of state and local taxes that you pay on a given year on your federal tax return. Wow. Next, here you go. $40 billion in job training. Huge. People have been sending me, asking me questions on private messaging. What type of jobs? You want to hope it's the biggest jobs. You want to hope it's the truck driver or the pilot, six-figure jobs per year. Absolutely, totally free. Here comes a confusing provision. Got it in there. It's huge. And I'll explain it to you right now. Medicare gap fixed. Under Obamacare, when it was established, it was offered across all the states. And all the states did offer it to its citizens, but the Republican states, where the governors are Republican, 12 of those, called the 12 holdout states, refused to pay for it, causing a problem for a lot of Democrats, including Joe Manchin. So the wonderful work of Raphael Warnock, Democrat from Georgia, Senator, and Jim Clyburn, Democrat from the Carolinas, figured out a solution. And the solution is the Medicare gap fix. For the 12 states in which the governors are Republicans and they refuse to pay for Obamacare, the Democrats now will provide you subsidized private insurance in the fourth stimulus recon to low-income individuals for many years to come. It's huge. It's great. Which brings us to the next provision, immigration reform. Immigration reform has been the topic of fake news in a certain news broadcast channel that has a animal as its logo out of Australia. Let me tell you what they're doing. They're taking a news report that is true somewhere else and putting it into the recon, which is not, has nothing to do with the recon. Let me go over what's happening. The recon, very simply, has no checks for any immigrants whatsoever in the recon. There are no checks for the recon, for immigrants in the recon, and there are no checks for immigrants in the roads and bridges. But a broadcast channel is saying there is. Wrong. What are they saying? They're confusing another story. The story is, under the Trump administration, thousands of immigrants were separated at the border from their families. Of those thousands, a few hundred have filed lawsuits in federal court asking for money for separation. Those few hundred lawsuits now have the plaintiff's attorneys asking for settlement offers and demanding settlement offers of $400,000. Those are lawsuits. Whether they're paid or not paid by settlement, those settlements are not coming out of the recon and not coming out of the roads and bridges. Moreover, there will be no $400,000 because the president specifically said, I'm not paying anyone $400,000 to settle these cases. So there you go. Housing assistance. Wow. So this is huge. Over the last year, you have seen how viewers have done so well getting big sums of money. In fall of 2020, I started covering Purple, rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and I showed how viewers got $250,000. But when third stimulus came around spring of this year, I said to viewers on this channel, I can get you on average on the third stimulus about $15,000 across all these programs: rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP. The average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000. Most viewers have gotten 1, 2, or 3 rounds. By analysis, third stimulus for housing was $45 billion for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. How much is in fourth stimulus? A lot more. Upwards of $150 billion. Wow. So if you have gotten $20, $30, $40,000 for these monies under third stimulus, you're going to get it 1, 2, or 3 more times under fourth stimulus. This is big. Rent. You do not have to be behind on your rent. From 6 different places. You do not have to be a certain type of renter at all. Rent aid. Mortgage assistance. You don't have to necessarily be behind on your mortgage. Utility assistance as well. And that is just a start. That is just a start. Imagine you got tens of thousands of dollars on the third stimulus and you can get on the fourth stimulus. Well, that's just a starting point. What comes after that? The home repairs, if you live in a low-income community, wow. The weatherizing your home, wow. And then the purchase price of your first home. Now, I've been asking viewers, if you have any very elaborate, complicated question about any program, send it to me on private message on social media, because that's the spirit of this channel. Me helping you, you helping others. When you send me a complicated question, it helps other people. Ryan and Lynn Glenn have asked what type of homes. Ryan asked about a mobile home. Great questions. So we do not know how they're going to define the word home for first-time home buyers. It's likely they would include a mobile home, not necessarily a brick and mortar's home. Another viewer asked, either Mary or Kathy, first time. She was married with her husband. They bought their first home, got divorced. She now wants to buy her first home as a single individual. Does she qualify as first time? We have to see the definition of first time. Then another viewer this morning said, is this only for low-income individuals? We have to see the eligibility about that. I do not believe it is, but we have to see that across the board. On the home repairs, equal number of questions are coming in across the board. People have asked, well, what about like a broken roof? That's exactly what Fourth Stimulus Recon is talking about. Low-income community, broken roof. When we look at third stimulus, the nonprofits have paid for nominal home repairs to make sure you are not cold or wet or hot, like a broken window, which could be $100 or $120 or $85. They will do those repairs, the nonprofits. They will not do a $35,000 roof. They won't do that, the nonprofits. For stimulus, this is exactly what this was for. So keep those great questions coming. The next one is on in-home healthcare, and we had a great question about this one. So someone said, I get this currently. What about the care providers? Do they get something? Great question. Very kind that that person thought about the care provider as well. I did see language in there saying they would have a better type of workplace, the care providers. So we'll watch together. I'm not quite sure how they're going to work that out. Great question. Here comes some hardcore cash checks, $550 checks for college students that are currently on the Pels Grant. Wow, that's a check directly to you. Then, big surprise, $12,500 of back-end checks for the purchase price of the new electric vehicle from a U.S. audio manufacturer union shop. Wow. So I got a message from someone on Instagram overnight, said the following. He wants to buy the new hybrid Hyundai. Does that qualify? No and no. First, it does not qualify for hybrids, only electric cars. Second, doesn't qualify for Hyundai. It is only for U.S. union shops. So Ford, GM, Chrysler, for example, and only for electric. And this is a back-end check, $12,500 of tax credits. Then more hardcore cash checks, $65 per child per month when they're not in school for food, and when they are in school, it's covered. All right, let's go to the third big win of this last week. Prescription medication got in there. On Saturdays mornings at LALATE, I asked viewers, can you send me a private message what you pay for insulin if you're on Medicare? Mark's wife, he tells me, pays $900 per dose. Kathy or Mary said she pays $500, $700 a dose. What is the win from Joe Biden? $35 a dose. And this would be instant. This would be nearly the next day after this becomes law. This is the instant savings to your wallet. Of the entire recon, this is one of the best provisions in there. Let's back up to understand how big this win is and why there's one person I want to congratulate and one person I want to fire. It was 20 years ago when Medicare was rolled out in its charter establishment over 20 years ago. It said they cannot negotiate the price of prescription medication. So if pharmaceutical companies, big pharma, want to charge $1,000 a dose for insulin, which rolls over to $800 out of your pocket, they could do it. And Medicare had no ability to change it. Every year, for 20 years, 15 paid lobbyists from big pharma kept the status quo, and senators tried to change that and couldn't. It came down to 2 Wednesdays ago, where Joseph Biden does the best thing he does across the board. Negotiate when he is doing it himself. He picked up the phone and called Kristen Sinema, the holdout, on a Wednesday night, saying, Kristen, it's been months. You're holding out on this. We need to get this done. And he got her to say yes, ending 20 years of tyranny of the situation. That big win also came with Kristen Sinema saying she's blessing the entire recon. This is why I want to thank the president for this incredible win. I also want to fire the entire press crew of the White House because no one heard about this. This is something that instantly can be felt by millions of seniors. What did they run as a press story that day? Climate in Rome, which no one feels the impact in their wallet instantly. That's just not the story you run. This is the story you run because this was a transformative event for generations to come. All right, let's go over the calculations right now. How does this roll out? It rolls out initially with about 20 prescription medications right away, good faith negotiations between Medicare and the big pharma right away, and then ramps up to about 28 medications by the year 2028. The most expensive medication, not the cheapest stuff. This is not the $20 flu medicine. No. This is arthritis. This is diabetes. This is cancer. All those big, expensive medications. Medicare Part B, Medicare Part D. Ron Wyden says the first time the government no longer have its hands tied behind its back. I love Chuck Schumer. You want to hug him on this one. He says, it's good, but we're going to be back next year. Just like a New Yorker, he wants to take another bite out of the apple out of this one next year because he wants to do this bigger and more, and he will. He'll bite away more at this next year. Scott Peters, Democrat from California, says this is really good for seniors. Dick Durbin praised it. Jan Kaskowski says, it's huge they got this done despite how much lobbyists were pushing back about the situation. And Tom Carper praised as well. This week, 2 provisions of the recon may come out. A Senate parliamentarian is a government official. She's not partisan. And her job is to look at a recon, see if every provision belongs in there under the Senate rules. If it doesn't, she says take it out. The 2 provisions are on the firing end, immigration reform and paid leave. My prediction, immigration reform will go out. She previously said it doesn't belong in here. Paid leave, I don't know. 50-50 on that one across the board. All right, get your pen and paper ready because it's time to go over some of the other items. But first, let's go over the nuance of why the price is not particularly right. You're going to see in the next few weeks or few days that the House members understand that senators are adding a lot more in. That's why they're pushing this out of the House as quickly as possible because the senators want to add a lot of stuff in there. It was over a week ago that the senators said, I have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of stuff missing. And their stuff is still missing. Bernie Sanders said over a week ago it's the best bill since the 60s, but there's major gaps missing. And all his provisions are still missing. Dental, vision, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. It's coming up in a second. I'll be going into that in a second. Ron Wyden said there's a lot missing. It's not done deal to the Senate acts. And he says there's a significant amount of work to be done. Senator Chris Coons, Chuck Schumer, Chris Murphy, and then on the House side, Jalapa and AOC all say there's going to be a lot of changes coming from those senators. All right, get that pen ready. Here we go. We're going to write down some more of those checks for you right now. Pre-kindergarten, 1 year hard cold cash checks up front, 3 to 4 year olds. 1 more year of the child tax credit, that $3,600 or $3,000. My notes show eligibility, household 60,000. The reports now show 150,000 household salary. I don't know what's going on. Earned income tax credit for my essential workers, more and more a year. That's back end. Home health care, likely just a covered benefit. And then the hearing aid, either a voucher, hard cold cash check, or just a covered benefit, which brings us then to those home repairs. Wow. We have the rent, the utilities, the mortgage assistance, and the purchase price of the first home. We have the $550 checks, hard cold cash checks for the Pell's grant for the college students, and the $65 checks for the students when at home from vacation from the schools. There you go. So what would next go into the recon? What programs would likely go in addition to the push to put at least one IRS stimulus check in the recon. On the Senate side, Bernie Sanders has several provisions he does not have still in here, which are lowering Medicare eligibility age, dental, and vision. Let's go over each of them. First, he wanted it at 55. It's currently 65. Bob Casey went at 60. Let's see if they can get it in there. It's still not in there on the House side. Then he says any recon must have teeth and also vision. Let's do the calculations. Both of these provisions were hard cold cash checks before they got removed on the House side. The dental was last $850 checks, stimulus checks in your hand each year, senior on Medicare. So is that sufficient for Bernie? No. He wanted 10 years covered benefits. Then he wanted 3 years covered benefits. It got reduced to $850. Let's see if they get that back in there. Then we come to vision. This is an easy one of dental, vision, and hearing. It's the cheapest one. He wants an eye exam and a pair of glasses per year. Easy. What's so difficult about it? $50 approximately for an eye exam, $100 for glasses approximately, $150 checks in the mail to seniors on Medicare. Every year, go get some glasses and a new prescription. Very easy. Doesn't make sense. It wouldn't go in there as well. Which brings us then to the last set of notes, which is where do things not really line up? Let's look at that child tax credit. I show $60,000 a household. I don't know what this 150 is, but the good news is that in-home healthcare, 100 to 200 billion, it's huge. That's a lot. The housing, 175, the health insurance for one more year, and then the clean energy out. Wow. I'll have more about my opinions about the situation in just a second, but let's go over to some student loan debt. Student loan debt could go with another $10,000 offer. The president has made $10,000 offers to the Democrats by executive order to follow 3 prior executive orders. They should take it. They don't need to close it out at that, but at least take that for now. He forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Then he forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the nonprofit sector 10 years after graduation. And then the public sector 10 years after graduation. They should take the $10,000. Then COLA. Have you gotten the letter? Well, don't worry. Your benefits are going up 5.9% starting January 1st. But get ready for fifth stimulus right behind that. That is the raising up of your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, one time. And then applying a new benchmark in December 2022. That new benchmark is inflation. Jay Powell, the Federal Reserve, said exactly what I said last week, which was inflation is going to be 2 to 3% next December. So that would mean you would get 1, 2, 3 lifts in 1 year. First this, 5.9, then 3 or 2, and then another lift, which could be 2 or 3. Wow. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty. Finally, if you haven't become a member, you need to. Become a member to learn about all the big money under third stimulus. When third stimulus rolled out, I said viewers on average could get about $15,000 across all the items of third stimulus. Average viewers channel has gotten $45,000 from third stimulus. And they've learned, and you've learned, that you can get multiple rounds of these monies under third stimulus. I told viewers back in November of last year to get the money for these items then as practice because they would be in third stimulus. They did it, and then when third stimulus became law, I launched the Purple Hawks, to describe people who pounce and get this money because it's first come, first serve. And boy, have you done well. Now, when we go into fourth stimulus, all those sums of money are repeated with new checks. So when I say on average you can get about $15,000 across all these incredible programs under fourth stimulus, it may be an understatement because it repeats everything under third stimulus that viewers on average got $40,000 from when it was a smaller stimulus package compared to the fourth stimulus that has that plus other checks across the board. Consider becoming a member today to get that newsletter. It comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, written by me, and sent via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is totally free, the only news alert system of its kind in America. Get that alert and learn about all the big money for you coming in fourth that is repetitive from third, which is a beautiful segue as we go into my commentary of the situation across the board. What's important to understand when you look at this incredible recon is that we have 3 types of verbs that we see sometimes in the landscape of our social discussion on social media. Perhaps your words, but perhaps someone else's verbs. Those verbs are promised, predicted, and said. In 2020, Nancy Pelosi passed the HEROES Act. It was passed in the House of Representatives, just like this body of legislation is about to pass in the House, and it was sent over the Senate. The only difference was then the Senate was controlled by Mitch McConnell and the Republicans. In Nancy Pelosi's HEROES Act, there was $10,000 of hazard pay. When it landed in the Senate, Mitch McConnell took the body of legislation and threw it in the wastebasket. It never became law. So did Nancy Pelosi promise you $10,000 of hazard pay? No. Did she attempt to do it for you? Yes. Is what Mitch McConnell did with her bill an indication of something bad about Nancy Pelosi? No. She made her best efforts to give you that money. It's much the same situation right now as the House bill is going to come out of the House and go to the Senate. And ultimately, the senators are going to try to keep everything in there and add stuff in there. But if something gets removed, it doesn't have any bad reflection on the House members. It's just what they tried to do in the landscape. Predictions. There's always a prediction about something. I'm predicting that the Senate parliamentarian will take out one provision. Maybe I'm wrong. And then the words said. We have a lot of legislators. We have over 100 plus Democratic House members and dozens of Senate Democrats. Legislators say things because that's what they want to do for you. But it's important for you to understand and learn and listen to the channel because ultimately, while they may want to do something for you and say they want to do something for you, someone else, like a Mitch McConnell, may prevent them from doing that thing from you. We have Senators Casey, Coons, Warren, Sanders, Schumer, Wyden, telling thousands of viewers over many weeks they want to insert at least one stimulus check in there. But you know and you understand that while those 6 want to give that to you, the numbers and the balance of power in the Senate means that it only takes one person to say, no, I don't want to give that to you, that you wouldn't get it. It doesn't mean that those other 6 people didn't try to help you. Same thing over on the House side. Last week, Jalapal wanted the recon to vote first. She said that. She meant it. She really did want it to happen that way. But we had the moderate Democrats trying to trying to cause the recon from never passing. So she had to pivot. Didn't mean she didn't want to help you. My job as a news reporter is to report what they say. And what they say is what they intend to do for you. That's for you to understand that if they want to do this and they say they want to do it, it may often only take one person, like a Mitch McConnell in 2020, to say, no, I don't care you want to do it, I don't, and then it doesn't become the situation. All those many House members want to give you $10,000 of hazard pay in 2020, and it only took one person, Mitch McConnell, to say, no, you're not getting it. And that is why we need to always focus on advocating, because there may be that one person that says no, and then you don't get that particular provision. Across this incredible recon, it is a great bill that'll pay you thousands of dollars as it becomes law. And when it becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get those sums of money. But we can make it better, and that's why advocacy is important. If you have questions about any particular provision in this recon, very complex provision, send me a private message on social media, because my spirit of this channel, always since day one and still to this day, is helping you. And you help others when you send me a complicated question, because then the other person listening may have had the same question as well, and their question may be answered by your question. That's the spirit of helping one another. So send me those great questions. And remember, it's about this recon. Someone overnight said, is there any changing your tires in the recon? No, there's no changing the tires on the car on the recon. But just the programs that are in the recon, not, is there anything for new floral decors in production sets? No, there is not. And I'm fine with my floral decor. So there you go. And there is no bacon in there either. So there you go. Coming up next is Morning's Crypto, live on air. Join me in just 5 minutes from now as Bitcoin went right through the roof this morning. What went on? I have the latest details. Then I'm back with you at 11 a.m. live on air with noontime today. Then we got shows at 1 o'clock with Afternoons LA, and then the big 3 o'clock Afternoons LA, totally new. Evenings LA, totally new at 5 o'clock. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Like this video, consider becoming a member to get that newsletter coming out tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. Continue to advocate, continue to push, continue to send me your great, very detailed messages. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, and join me next on Morning's Crypto, starting right after this.